Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I've done a lot of stories about how children identify in school. Boys who want to be girls, girls who want to be boys. Randomly, some want to be cats. And this is all very fine and pleasant, except of course it really isn't. Often the schools are doing this without the knowledge or consent of the parents, which is completely wrong. And then nobody's really clamping down on this, and it needs to be clamped down on. It needs to be taken apart, because ultimately you are fulfilling a wish fulfillment on a child, which can cause irreparable psychological damage. You cannot pander to these delusions, and you need to ensure that the child knows exactly who it is, what it is, and no, you refuse to identify that child as a cat. And you're not going to allow that child to go over to the box in the corner, scratch around and drop out its poo. Crazy. But of course the woke schools, oh well, we must do this, we must allow the child the full development. It's rubbish. Now we've got a story here about a child who, and it's just the latest in a whole line of madness, that this child identifies as a fox. What kind of idiot do you have to be to try and pretend you're a Let's look at the article. Now, of course, I did that for what I hope was humorous effect, but probably not. But of course, I'm not really identifying as any kind of silver fox. It is my nom de plume, if you will, on YouTube, which is partially true. But it's also because I started going grey at 16, and by the time I was in my early 20s, I had white hair. And that's what I used to get called. It's nice. I've known it all my whole life. But this is a child that identifies as a fox, but only because the school isn't clamping down, it isn't disciplining, and it isn't saying, grow up. So, for fox's sake, Scottish student identifies as a fox as woke government guidance is blamed. SNP teaching policies are contributing to a toxic environment in classrooms after a pupil told staff they wanted to identify as a fox. Well, that means I'll just set the dogs on you then, A student in a Scottish school has told teachers they identify as a fox amid what teaching unions have warned is a toxic environment for staff that is only made worse by poor guidance from the SNP government. And the reason it's toxic is this. If a teacher refuses to go along with what the child identifies as, the teacher can be disciplined. We're in this crazy through the mirror world where a child with either obviously being a dick or, because it's deliberately doing it, or has serious mental conditions, and the teacher has to pretend to go along with the delusion. You have to lie to a child or you lose your job. Every teacher in Scotland, now we all know how bad teachers are, I've done enough videos on how bad teachers are anyway, but every teacher in Scotland needs to look at their employment contract and go, you know what, this just isn't worth it, and walk away from this job. Why can we not have discipline? Why can we not just tell these people, no, you can't identify as anything? There is no identifying as any. If they identify as anything other than a human being, throw them out of school. We don't educate animals. Job's sorted, isn't it? Oh, little Timmy, what's that? You want to be a cat today? Okay, let me open this window, throw you out. Come back in the morning and shut the window. Then little Timmy can walk the streets at night and hopefully not get run over. Because nothing worse than a squished cat on the road, is there? I've hit a cat, it's horrible. Anyway, union leaders are demanding tougher rules to protect staff from disciplinary action for either denying children their rights or indulging in bizarre identities. Yes, you can't be fired for denying a child his rights to identify as a mushroom. Anyway, last week, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak ordered head teachers to confront outlandish incidents after children in England and Wales were identifying as cats, as well as a horse, a dinosaur and a moon. And in one case it was actually a mushroom as well. That ain't no moon. The issue stems from the belief that there are endless numbers of potential identities, which is bullshit. The issue has been disputed by some of the SNP as a spoof but to those in the Conservative Party are blaming sex education lessons and are demanding transparency. You're demanding transparency off the SNP again. That ain't gonna be giving it, is it? Anyway, Seamus Searson, General Secretary of the Scottish Secondary Teachers Association, said the Scottish Government's policy has opened the door to all sorts of strange things, and it's an environment that is very toxic. Our job is to try and protect teachers and stop them from getting into more trouble than they're already in. And boy, a lot of them are already in trouble. But that's for an entirely different video, which I keep doing on a regular basis. He said it's a very difficult time for teachers because the Scottish Government and the actions it took and the then Gender Recognition Reform Bill came blocked by Westminster. They feel they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. Simple. Don't pander to these morons. Don't pander to the children that think they're something other than what they are. Don't pander if they want to be panders. I mean, you know. Anyway, our legal advisors have highlighted the case of someone in Scotland who thought they were a fox and the complications of such a case. That's fine. Put them outside and tell them to run across a field and you'll send some horses and dogs after them later. Let's see if they want to be a fox for long when they're getting the hounds ripping them apart. I don't think so. Scottish Conservative spokesman for children and young people, Megan Gallagher, said, our teachers, who are under enough pressure already due to lack of support from the SNP, should not be left feeling like they have to walk on eggshells in the classroom. And she's quite right. But this is down to SNP policy. But it's not. I'm not going to blame the SNP for this one. It's SNP policy because it's their government in Scotland. But in England and Wales, it's Conservative Party policy. They're the government that haven't dealt with it. In Scotland, the SNP are the government that haven't dealt with it. So yes, in Scotland, it absolutely is an SNP problem. But in England and Wales, yes, it absolutely is a Conservative Party problem. They need to act. They need to stop these kids pushing this kind of crap onto teachers and give the teachers the power to say, if you don't identify as a human, out. And that's it. That's it. We don't educate animals. That said, I teach my dog tricks and he can do more than Harry and Meghan. But that's a different video as well. Anyway, I should round off there and come up. But it is absolutely right. You know, that we do something about this. You cannot pander to these illusions, because it is after if it's not a mental illness and delusion, then it's just kids being dicks, and they are. We all know. Jesus, mine. I was going to say mine still can be, and he's 33. Anyway, I'm coming up. How about just having kids identifying as children? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And then educating them and stop pandering them. Treat them as what they are. Tiny little people who don't have the full set of rights because they are under loco parentis. Don't allow them to become the adults in the room. They're not. And as soon as they start with their identity bullshit, clamp it right down and say, no, I don't have a note from your parents. Sit down. Didn't have this problem 20 years ago. Probably didn't have this problem 10 years ago. It's all the trans rights pushing this shit on children. And this is what you get. By pandering to the trans movement, you get this. You're bringing it on yourself. Stop pandering to the trans. Let everyone know the trans are just mental people and predators. Anyway, thanks very much for listening. If you like what you see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. And if you want to be something, be decent. Bye.